Tracking of 505. 21.
Target card for a parking problem.
Beyond the Call is a monthly program featuring public safety and educational topics with the Richmond Police Department. Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric.
Hi, I'm Rick Babuka, Vice President of Babcon Electric. Babcon Electric is proud to support Beyond the Call. We have been an active community sponsor for over 20 years. And if you need electric repair, don't hesitate to call. Call Babcon Electric at 859-623-3848 and expect superior service. Service beyond the call. Enjoy the program.
Hi, I'm Gwendolyn Morton with WBONTV.com, and we're here at our very first episode of Beyond the Call, brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric. And I'm here with Sgt Hale from the Richmond Police Department, and we're just going to start out by getting to know each other a little bit better. Josh and I have just spent 11 weeks together in Citizens Police Academy, so we're acquainted, but I was going to let you tell yourself a little bit about yourself to the audience and who you are, your background, and so forth.
Well, thank you. As you said, I am a sergeant with the Richmond Police Department. I'm in my 15th year of policing, so I've been doing this a little while. I'm not originally from Richmond, but I'm kind of a transplant here now, so I don't plan on going anywhere for a long, long time if we ever do. I've worked everything from patrol to I worked the bike patrol. I did about 7 years in the schools. I do a lot of the community service things, so I try to get out there and meet as many people as I can.
That's great. So here at Beyond the Call, this is going to be a monthly podcast, broadcast. We're going to be on a lot of aspects of social media and our website here at WBONTV.com. And every month we're going to take a different look, a different approach to safety in our community and different ways to keep yourself safe, your family safe, and different ways that we just can become a better society here. Any thoughts on that and going forward? You know, we've got a lot to do here.
Sure. When we originally came up with the idea at the police department, obviously we looked to WBON for local support, as you all are now a TV station and radio also. We wanted to do something that's different, which is why we came up with the name Beyond the Call. Everybody sees the police out there on the streets. They see the police cars. Sometimes they see us. We pull somebody over, or we have to arrest somebody, or we're out doing our job. But everybody doesn't realize a lot of times that there's a lot more that goes into how we can keep our community safe. And also, and I know it's an obvious thing, but many people kind of don't think we're just people.
Right.
We're so by the book and so strict and so have so many policies and laws and everything to follow that it's sometimes we seem unapproachable. So that's why we wanted to reach out in this way, and hopefully we can reach out to a new audience, a younger audience, older audience. Doesn't matter to us. We just want to make sure that we can reach out to benefit the community and make a change.
So in this time and age, it's there's a lot of negativity, and I'm sure that you get a lot of feedback that way. So this is definitely an avenue for the Richmond Police Department to kind of step in with the community and get some good feedback and get a great relationship going that way. I feel like that's a good outcome of this program, and showing how we can help and how we can partner together with the police department to get that relationship at the best possible.
Absolutely. So this program, Beyond the Call didn't happen overnight. For those of you out there listening and watching, we started this process months and months ago. So there were a lot of things that came kind of to fruition before we started this. So some of the first things we started doing to change the image for the police department or help it become in a more positive light was we started these small community events. We want to get the community involved, and we want to get kids involved, and we want to get parents involved. It starts with the schools. Madison County Schools is fantastic in the way they help us out. A lot of local businesses. And then from there, the next step was obviously the Citizens Police Academy,
right.
Which you were just a recent graduate of.
Yes.
That was an 11-week program. We have never done that program with 6 different agencies. So every law enforcement agency in Madison County and the Department of Criminal Justice Training, where we all train, all got involved in this. And so that program had not been going on for about 7 years. And so we brought that back to life. And now we're at the stage where we're trying to get that information out there and talk about all these programs and educate and move forward with Beyond the Call.
It was absolutely a great program. Just going back to Citizens Police Academy for a minute, it was a great, just a meeting of all these different agencies to come together to, what do we have, maybe 15, 16 students?
I think there were 18 total.
18
Yeah.
total. And we're just a day in the life of a police officer every week for 11 weeks to get to see the different avenues that you guys go down, all the different things that you do from, traffic stops to drug enforcement to we just absolutely got to do a little bit of everything. And I can't encourage people enough to go if you have the opportunity to take part in that. I know that you are planning on doing that again, maybe in the spring, possibly next fall. But it's just such a great avenue to bridge the citizen police together.
Right. And I know when people start listening to this, we're already going to go ahead and get those questions flowing in on social media and, and emails to us. The plan is at least to do it next fall. So fall of 2018, we started it this year on September 11th, a very fitting day to start it because of America's history with that day. So we started it on that day, but we plan on keeping this going every year. I don't know that we can try to get one going before the spring because it's just such a big undertaking to get together. So when we do start advertising, I highly encourage you to participate in that. And then if you're out there wanting to do something, wanting to learn about what we do, just so you know, you're not going to be a sworn police officer when you get done, but you also only have to be 18 years old. And then of course there's background things that we have to do for safety's sake. But we're taking younger, we're taking older. We want a lot of people to understand that we're here to be a part of your community, and that's why we put that program on.
Yeah. In my class specifically, we had a great range of ages and just different walks of life and everything in that class. So I think it's a great opportunity to get together with other people in the community to see how the community works. And not only did we talk with the police officers during that time, but we also got some time with the judges, local judges, the coroner, and some task forces here in the area. So it was a good time. So that being said, we are now here with Beyond the Call, and we are moving forward and just excited about where this series is going to take us. Today, I think we're going to focus a little bit on holiday safety. It's that time of year where we're out, we're shopping, we are doing things out in the public at the shopping malls and on the streets. We're going to focus a little bit on that today, and then we've got some other things we're going to talk about. But I think right now we'll just go ahead and take our first break. And again, this is Beyond the Call. I'm Gwendolyn with WBON TV, and this is exclusively brought to you by Babcock Electric.
When it comes to electrical installation and service, trust the experts at Babcock Electric, proudly serving Madison County and Central Kentucky for over 20 years. At Babcock Electric, no job is too big or too small. Our licensed professionals will arrive on time and get the job done right. Call Babcock Electric today for a free estimate. We'll even answer the phone. For quality, expert residential and commercial electrical service, contact Babcock Electric today. Babcock Electric, a proud member of the Better Business Bureau.
Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcock Electric.
And we're back. I'm Gwendolyn with WBON TV, and I am here with Sgt Hale, and this is our first edition of Beyond the Call. We are here today to introduce this series. It's going to be a monthly series brought to you by WBON TV, the Richmond Police Department. It's just a collaboration to get citizens involved in and aware of all the things that we have happening in our community here in Madison County, locally, regionally, and so forth. And one of the big goals that you have is to get community involvement. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We want to make sure that, when we do this program, to us, it really doesn't serve a purpose unless we have the audience out there and the people that we serve to help out. We want to have, input from our community. Obviously, we plan on having future shows and future, podcasts and things to do with this, but we want to know what people need. And it may not be, who was breaking into my vehicle or I want to know about whatever case we have going on, but little things that we can do, tips that we can help to solve crime before it happens. And I truly believe that our community, when we come together, it becomes stronger. It makes it more difficult for crime to occur.
Absolutely. And the community involvement and getting, just like you said, the tips to prevent crime before it gets to the next level is so important. And you guys do a lot of community. You're in the schools. That's a big part of, teaching the next generation about citizenship and about the laws and regulations and everything, and keeping an eye on that situation. What other kind of projects do you have? Do you have anything going on right now that's like community involvement? I know that you just mentioned the cruiser with the food drive for it's Christmas time, so we're doing that, but that's a need all year round. And so I think you had a video that got some feedback there with is it Cram the Cruiser? Is that what you've been calling it, or
we called it our Feed the Families campaign.
Okay.
Same concept as Cram the Cruiser.
Okay.
We have a police car parked outside Walmart right now, and within this week, and most people probably realize now, I don't know when this is going to be posted in air, but it's about 5 days till Christmas. So
Right.
Our plan has been a success. We started it at the beginning of the month, and we wanted to fill the cruiser with food before Christmas. But we're going to take it one step further. We're going to unload the cruiser this week, and we're going to do it all over again. It's kind of a big challenge and a big undertaking for our community again, but we want to fill it up before New Year's again. And I want to go until that cruiser is completely filled. That way we can help as many families as we can, because again, that once the holidays are over and we all move on, food is still a need in a major need.
Absolutely. And you gave a really interesting statistic before we started the podcast today about how much food is gone through with the outreach program here in Madison County monthly. They handle how much food?
I was told 100,000 pounds of food
That's
a
amazing.
month at God's Outreach, or through God's Outreach.
So there's obviously a need for this. And thanks for donating here during the Christmas time and the New Year. But that's something that we can go through the whole year with those needs being met in this community. And it's such a great thing that you guys have put together.
And and I want to give a little plug to God's Outreach while we're doing this. They have helped us for a long time, and this is our way of giving back. One of the programs that we have, and we will actually start planning it soon, is our police summer camp. And that's a 5-week program that costs our kids nothing. We take 50 11 to 14-year-olds, so you can imagine what kind of undertaking that is. And we take them to do something different every single day of the week.
So this is like a summer camp? Is it a week-long program that you're
It's a
working
5-week program.
It's a 5-week program.
We will start planning our calendar very, very soon. And then right around spring break is when we get our applications out in the schools and to the community so they can do it. But to tie it in with God's Outreach, they partner with us and they provide food for the backpacks for the kids, enough food to eat on the whole weekend. And a lot of kids out there, they may not have food at home and they may not have something. So, for us to be able to give back to God's Outreach in the way that, we can help our community year round because they help us is always a joy for us. And so that's what we wanted to do.
That is so great. So this is open to children, both boys and girls?
Absolutely.
And that's ages 11?
11 to 14.
11 to 14.
And we'll start planning that. That's a big one. We'll probably have a few more events between now and then, but that is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, community events that we do. And again, it costs these kids nothing. So if you're driving around town and you see, or going to the parks and you see some of the murals that you see painted on the walls in the parks, our summer camp kids painted those. So, it'll let you know kind of what these kids do. We teach lessons. We teach team building. We have a lot of partners with our, with our local businesses that will help us out. They learn sports. They learn academics. There's a lot of things that go into it, and and we're always teaching. But that's how God's Outreach plays into all that, and that's why we wanted to give back.
Wow, that is a huge undertaking. So I'm sure that we are going to be talking about that again as it gets a little bit closer. And I'm sure that with programs like this, do you have a place that people can go to see what is coming up? Do you have a calendar? Do you have a Facebook page? How would people find out about these programs here in Madison County locally?
We do have a Facebook page and a Twitter page, and it's Richmond KY Police on Facebook, and you can follow us. The unfortunate part of our job is that we have to post crime information also. Right. Sometimes we are looking for people of interest to us, but a lot of it is our community service events and things that we do. And, just like in a lot of other law enforcement agencies, we have a lot of young officers, a lot of new officers. We put information out so you can see who your police department is. If
what a great idea.
As we go through these changes that as a society that we go through with policing. So that's the place that you can go. Again, it's Richmond KY Police, and that's our Twitter handle and our Facebook page.
Okay, great. So go ahead and take a look at those pages out there and see all the great things that we have coming up in the community here in Madison County. Do you have any other of those programs that are coming up soon, or any of those other things that you'd like to talk about at this time?
One of the big big things that we do each year, and we've done several of them, is our Coffee with a Cop events. Okay. And they're starting to get a little traction in our community, and it's a national thing. We can't take the credit for coming up with it, but we do participate in in Coffee with a Cop days. And what that is very simple. There are no agendas for us at the police department. We go and we provide coffee and sometimes snacks or something for you, and then we want to hear what you have to say. We want you to meet your officers, and we want to meet our community. So if you have a concern, and like we said earlier, talking about people breaking into cars, if that's a concern of yours, we want to hear about it. So that is one of the events. I would say while it's still cold outside, we'll still do something like that.
Oh, that is a great way to bridge some communications between the community and the police officers. So again, I'm sure you can find information about that on your website or on the Facebook page as well, Twitter.
Yep, and then so that's not official yet. We don't have any one upcoming date yet, but I would say that January or February is a pretty good time because of that's the time that people drink coffee.
Right.
So we'll put something out there well in enough time for people to have the opportunity to attend.
Great, that sounds fantastic. Well, we've talked a little bit about what you guys do in the community, and we haven't addressed yet the holidays.
Right.
Really. So this time of year, we have a lot of people out in the community. We're shopping, we're decorating, we are out and about. And I thought on this first edition here that we would kind of go over some of the ways to stay safe here in the community as you are going about your holiday shopping, your planning, out and about just in the public, and how to address different things. So as we go forward, and let's just for shopping, for instance, to begin with, pointers for how to stay safe. Like, there's a few things, parking in well-lit areas and things like that. What other advice would you give consumers as they're going out into, the Richmond Center or to the Walmart? They've got gifts with them. They're going from place to place. How do you keep yourself safe and your belongings safe as you do that?
Well, first thing, and I'm going to do one of the old school kind of things. Don't drink and drive. It's the holidays. A lot of people are out to celebrate. We don't want any kind of drinking and driving. Another thing is texting and driving, or being on your phone, or cell phones. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot more traffic on the roads in the evenings and in the afternoons and during the daytime as well. So that's the first thing. When it comes to, I guess, the shopping aspect of it, I would always recommend someone go. I know that it's hard when you got to, get Christmas presents for someone that you have them with you, but I always recommend at least 2 or more people shopping together.
Safety in numbers.
So there's safety with that. Again, parking in well-lit areas. Always have your keys in your hand. There are people out there that may want to harm you, that may want to do something. Have your keys in your hand. And going back to the cell phone again, walk with your head up. Don't be looking down at things. Don't be looking at your cell phone while you're walking. That avoids you getting hit with traffic or anything like that too.
Right. That's great advice. How about leaving gifts in your car? I've heard a lot about this. We're in an age where honestly, we're not shopping in stores as much. So we'll talk a little bit maybe later about the porch pirates and how to avoid that. But as far as keeping I hide presents in my car sometime for my kids because sometimes they won't look there. So just safety tips on keeping those things safe and making sure that you keep those and they don't not tempting others.
Well, even though it's the holidays, I would use this advice at the same time year round. Anything valuable that's in plain view that people can see is potential for someone to break into your car. And a lot of times people will call us and say break into a car when a lot of times the car is left unlocked. And all you got to do is lock your car. And so, the odds of someone breaking into your car are not as high as someone just pulling on your door handle, and if it's open, then the crime of opportunity. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I would say just lock your doors. If there is something in your vehicle, just cover it up. Put it in your trunk. That would include purses, anything like that.
Right.
And just don't make it readily accessible for a thief or someone that wants to steal your stuff to do so.
Absolutely. Great advice. So we're going to continue with this topic. We're going to take a short break right now. We are Beyond the Call. This is our very first edition of this. I'm Gwendolyn with WBON TV here with Sgt Hale, and we'll be back in just a minute. This is exclusively brought to you by Babcock Electric.
When it comes to electrical installation and service, trust the experts at Babcon Electric, proudly serving Madison County and Central Kentucky for over 20 years. At Babcon Electric, no job is too big or too small. Our licensed professionals will arrive on time and get the job done right. Call Babcon Electric today for a free estimate. We'll even answer the phone. For quality, expert residential and commercial electrical service, contact Babcon Electric today. Babcon Electric, a proud member of the Better Business Bureau.
Beyond the Call is brought to you exclusively by Babcon Electric.
Hi, I'm Gwendolyn with WBONTV.com, and this is our very first edition again of Beyond the Call. We are back here with Sgt Hale, and we are talking safety. We're talking safety in the community, and specifically, we've been talking safety with the holiday season. And I think one of the things that we really need to look into and really explore is social media. During the holidays and year-round, how in an age where social media is so prevalent, how do we keep ourselves safe and not overexpose ourselves and put ourselves out there for crime?
Well, we could do a whole show itself on social media, but
Right.
For the sake of the holidays, simple things like when you go out of town and you take family photos, don't post anything of where you're at until after you get back, or where you've been until after you get back. Don't tell everyone what you're going to be doing. Don't say, "Hey, I'm leaving town. I've got my house unlocked."
Right.
That kind of stuff like that. And I know it sounds like common sense, but people are watching.
Get excited.
Absolutely.
I'm going on a trip. I can't wait. I want everyone in my family to know that, Uncle Jim gave me this great trip to the Caribbean or whatever for Christmas.
Thank you, Uncle Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Uncle Jim. And you get excited about that stuff, and you don't realize that you're putting yourself in danger when you do that.
Right. And so you want to err on the side of caution to protect yourself, and simple things like most people in the world have a smartphone now. I was told, or I read a statistic recently, 1 in 8 people in the world have more than one smartphone. But for the most part, we all have smartphones. And when you check in at locations, maybe on Facebook or Twitter or these different places.
Not only announcing that you're going, but then checking in when you get there.
That's right. You're giving out information. So you're giving information to bad guys or people that would take advantage of situations. Don't tell everything about your life. Because even though they may be your friend on Facebook, how many people actually get to talk to all their friends on Facebook?
Right.
Or whatever, their followers on Twitter or what have it. So just use caution in what you post.
That is such a great point. I hadn't thought of that myself. So I'm not one to say, hey, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be leaving over the weekend. But I never think twice when I'm at, a ball field or whatever. I'm watching a game, checking in. I'm here watching UK play tonight or whatever it is that I'm doing. What a great resource that is for people who are maybe not up to the best intentions.
Sure, and I don't think it's intentional that people do that. I think we all want to share our lives, and in this busy time that we have now in life, a lot of times, for example, myself, my family, I'm not from Richmond,
right.
So I don't get the opportunity to see my family. So that's how they follow us.
Yes,
is on.
It is.
That's how they keep up. That's right. That's how they keep up with my life. So when I post things about my family or things that I'm doing, they want to know. But it's also a cautionary thing that I want to do. You don't need to know that I went out of town until after I get back. That kind of thing. So it's a safety thing that you want to protect yourself and your family.
Absolutely. There are so many ways to go down this social media avenue here, but just keeping in mind, privacy is very valuable, and keep a little bit of it to yourself. Now, we're going to be getting some great gifts for Christmas. We're going to be getting those televisions and those iPads and those laptops. Again, where do you stand on posting about everything you get? When you put that information out there, you can't bring it back.
Well, I'm a fan of celebrating the fact that, if you want to celebrate that you got a gift, to be thankful. I understand that. That's fantastic. I would not put information about electronics out there. I don't want to put out, again, too much information. And I'm glad you brought up the TVs and the iPads and the cell phones and different things like that. You should do this with everything in your home. Take a day, and it may take you a while, and go through and find everything that has a serial number in your house and write it down. Then photocopy it, lock it up somewhere, and then email it to yourself on, I know it sounds silly, but 2 different email accounts. That way you have this information. And if someone by the awful chance does break into your home,
Right.
or does something does get stolen, you can give the police the information that we can use to find your property and get it back to you more easily.
Right. Glad you said that, because I just read an article in preparing for this podcast and this broadcast. I did a little bit of research, and that was one of the things they recommended. Go through pictures, take down information, get that information so that when you do need it, it's better to have it and never need it than something happen and you don't have it. So, we spend a lot of money on these things. Let's take that extra minute over this break or whatever, and write that information down. Let's keep it safe. We've gone to the expense of getting it. Keeping it safe is just the next reasonable step.
Absolutely. And and that's one thing that I would encourage everyone to do, just for the safety of your family. It's more, and it goes further than TVs and phones and all these things, but these are simple steps that you can take to move towards making your family safer all around.
Right. All right. I think one last thing that I did want to talk about on this very first edition is during the holidays, donations during the holidays. What is the best way? You want to give back during this time, but I feel like a lot of people kind of get taken advantage of. How can you find, is there a way that maybe through your department or some other way, maybe calling or checking your website, how do you find out about legitimate charities in this area? Do you have any idea how someone would go about making sure that if they're giving back this holiday season, that what they're giving goes to the right people?
Well, obviously the Better Business Bureau is one way to look into it. The Chamber of Commerce a lot of times will back things. Churches have a lot to do with things. And obviously we don't have control over where it goes once you donate it. But things like that, reputable businesses, reputable organizations, and there's so many out there. There's so many to name. But if you recognize the name and you can find out about them, then they're probably something good you can donate to. In regards to police departments and things like that, anything like, for us, teddy bears are a big thing, or stuffed animals, because we take these to kids.
Right.
So little things that you can do. If you're like my kids, they have I feel like 1,000 stuffed animals,
Yes,
and so these are things
everywhere.
that's right, they're everywhere. They spill out all over the place. So little things like that can go a long way. But I think, again, it needs to be a reputable organization or agency.
And a lot goes to just doing a little bit of research
Right.
on that end. If you're going to take the time to donate to someone, go ahead and do the research. Look them up online. Look them up with the Better Business Bureau. See what's out there. This time of year, I don't know that we've had this problem in Madison County. I probably have, but let's talk just for a minute before we leave about porch pirates.
Okay. Well, and that's a term that's just come out recently on social media and things like that. But for lack of information, those that you may not know, those are people that go steal the packages off of the front porches. So I would encourage you to, if you have something delivered, have it delivered certified mail, have to where somebody has to have a signature for it, have it delivered to your office or your place of employment, have it delivered to a neighbor that you trust.
Someone that's home during the daytime.
Someone that's home. So because obviously these are things, people
These
send.
are crimes of opportunity.
Yeah, and a lot of them are very valuable gifts.
Absolutely.
And they
Just
cost
like
a lot of money.
about the electronics, the iPads, the laptops. These things are being left out on your porch because you're not home during the day. Have you seen in Madison County, in our local area, has there been a big issue with this?
I don't know that it's a big issue. We typically yearly we'll have a few calls that we'll take, maybe a few reports where that has happened. There's not been a slew of that I know of that has gone on this year. So a lot of people can rest easy with that. But in this world of, Amazon.com and a lot of these other places that do the online shopping, these are things that people need to take into consideration and prepare yourself accordingly.
In a world of convenience where you can order that stuff online and not ever have to go to put yourself, in the public, you just do want to take that extra step when you get them delivered to your home. And, having even a special place to have them delivered. If you have a relationship with the person who's delivering, your UPS guy or USPS guy, also having a special place to have those things delivered can go a little bit. Again, it's just like with the locked car versus the unlocked car. If it's obvious, it's more obvious to get taken. It's easier to get to.
Sure. And, and it circles back around to everything that we've been talking about this show. Just simple little steps can prepare your family. I'm not going to say for tragedy,
Right.
but you can avoid any kind of pitfalls of theft, or you can, you can make preparations to just take care of your family a little bit more.
Absolutely. So this has been a lot of fun. I really have enjoyed this. We've talked a little bit about safety, about the holidays. This is going to be a monthly installment that you're gonna kind of take over from here, and you're gonna host, and we're gonna have. We've talked about. We've talked about having some high-level politicians possibly joining the show.
That's right.
It's going to be exciting. And we're not going to give away too much right now about the future topics, just because it's just all in the works. This is not something that happened overnight. We mentioned that this has been in the works for a few months, and we're still figuring everything out. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a journey. We're going to be you're going to be sitting down once a month and talking about the police departments, the community, locally, Madison County, Central Kentucky. And these all are going to be posted to not only the WBON TV website, but also to our Facebook pages. We've got this podcast. If you're not watching us, you can download the podcast and listen later. Download it in your car. We're going to have a lot of great tips about safety in the community and all around in your lives, your personal lives, your family lives. So it's valuable information that we're going to be giving out every month.
That's right. And so we want to do the safety tips. We want to reach out to our community. We want to see what their concerns are. So, obviously, if you have feedback from this, we hope it's all positive, but, we'll take a little bit of criticism if we need to fix it and make it better. But if you have feedback, we want to hear. If you have concerns, we want to hear about it. So, give us that information. We don't plan on just doing safety tips. I mean,
Right.
we want to make it a fun show. I have no idea where the topics are going to go with this.
We're not going to plan it really strictly.
That's right,
We're
because
just going to go with it as far as public involvement and what do you want to hear? What do you want to know about? What are some topics that are interesting to you? And speaking of that, how could they get a tip to you? Like if they have a certain topic that they would like to see us discuss here on Beyond the Call, what would be the best avenue to get it to you?
So the best avenue for us is you can send it. You can drop a letter off at the police department. We could do the old school snail mail if you wanted to go it that way. You could send a message to us on our Facebook page. Probably easier than on some of the other social media avenues because there's not a character limit on that.
Right.
You can send us a message on that. There's going to be, if you see one of us out in public, myself, if you talk to me or, the chief or someone, you see us out in public, say hello to us and say, hey, we want to hear this. We want to serve you. That's what we're here to do. And
Community involvement.
Yep, that's how we want to get you all involved.
Okay, great. So I feel like some of the other things that we wanted to mention really quickly was your Facebook pages and your Twitter accounts and how to find you. Your
Right.
Richmond KY Police.
Right.
And that's both the Facebook and the Twitter.
Right.
So another thing that we did discuss, now this is a great avenue for getting us information. However, this is not an avenue for emergency information. Let's talk a little about this. Now, we try our best, no matter how diligent we are on checking our messages on Facebook, especially with something like this, there's not always someone there all the time. So keep that in mind. If you have an emergency, this is not the best
Right.
way to get to us.
And so for us at the police department, we actually have a team that handles now, and I guess, a group of people that will manage our social media and manage our media accounts. And of course, we're, in the fast-paced world of policing, we have a lot of contacts with, the media, yourself, and then other news stations, things, but it cannot be a 24/7 thing. So obviously, if there's an emergency, if there's something that you need, if you need a police report of non-emergency, you can call our dispatch line, and this may be something you want to write down and have on hand. It's 859-624-4776. Now, that's our non-emergency. And then, of course, if you have an emergency, call 911. And that'll send you to the Madison County Emergency Operations Center. And that can get you the fire, the police, EMS, anything that you may need in regards to emergency services.
Okay, so great. Always the first line of communication in an emergency situation is always 911. But again, give that phone number one more time for dispatch, just in case of things that are important but not desperate.
Sure. And that's 859-624-4776. And again, these are things that we can get you someone sent out to wherever you live in Madison County for whatever you need.
Now, is this a tip line as well, or is this just, or do you have a tip line here in Madison County for?
We do. That has been utilized as our tip line. And then there's also an email address if it has something to do with an investigation or criminal investigation. Our criminal investigations division, our detectives for another word, they have an email address, and it's detective@richmond.ky.us.
Right.
So that is an email address that is monitored. So if we have a high-profile case or a situation that you've seen on our social media pages or something you've seen on the news, and you have information about it, then that's a way that you can get a hold of them also.
That is great. A lot of great information. We've covered a lot today, but I feel like we've got a lot more coming up. So this is kind of where we're going to end it for today. This has been Beyond the Call. This is our first installment. We are on a podcast. We're on WBON TV. We're on the Facebook. We're going to be on your Facebook page as well. We've given some valuable numbers here today. If you have information, do you have any closing words, anything you'd like to say before we leave on this very first edition? Sure.
So I would like to send this out on behalf of the police department. We want to thank our community for all your continued support, and I want to thank you for the opportunity that we have to serve. Now, obviously, we chose this job and this career, so we kind of knew what we were getting into a little bit. But it's always helpful, and it always makes us feel good when the community supports us. So, if we have anything to say, I guess on behalf of the police department, we want to say happy holidays, stay safe, and of course, we're there if you need us. And this has been Beyond the Call.
Thank you so much. Find us on our podcast. Find us on our website. We will see you again next month with another exciting episode of this. And who knows where we're going to go with this. I'm Gwendolyn, and this is Sgt Hale with Beyond the Call, all brought to you exclusively from Babcock Electric. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching Beyond the Call, sponsored exclusively by Babcock Electric. Watch every month on WBONTV.com.
When it comes to electrical installation and service, trust the experts at Babcock Electric, proudly serving Madison County and Central Kentucky for over 20 years. At Babcock Electric, no job is too big or too small. Our licensed professionals will arrive on time and get the job done right. Call Babcock Electric today for a free estimate. We'll even answer the phone. For quality, expert residential and commercial electrical service, contact Babcock Electric today. Babcock Electric, a proud member of the Better Business Bureau.